On January 25, 2025 at 11:15 a.m., a man named David Morrow was sitting on the balcony of his apartment enjoying the views of the Pacific Ocean. As usual, it was a normal day. Suddenly, he noticed flames with flickering sparks about 5 miles away from his apartment on the hills of Pacific Palisades. In just an hour, the fire spread so much that the smoke completely hid the mountain. If you look at the satellite view, the fire was first reported in the mountains of Perseids, but after a few hours, it spread to the areas of Eaton, Hearst, Kenneth, Getty, Scarborough and San Fernando. When the fire broke out, winds blew inland at 100 km/h. The question is, if the fire started in Pacific Palisades near the ocean, how did it spread opposite 30 to 40 km? Fire devastated 38,000 acres, 150 sq km, 12,000 buildings destroyed, 180,000 evacuated. Most devastating fire in LA history, not fully extinguished. Efforts failing. Water bombers drop 45,000 liters. Seems futile. Devastated 38,000 acres, 12,000 buildings destroyed, 180,000 evacuated. Most devastating fire in LA history, still burning. Efforts failing. Water bombers drop 45,000 liters. Feels futile. Special chemicals used, still futile. In California, water scarce, hydrants empty. Fire spread divides firefighters. Winds of 70-100 km/h. Intensified fire. Every possible effort to extinguish the fire seems to be failing. Water bombers are dropping 45,000 liters of water at a time, which feels like just a few drops against the raging fire. Special chemicals are also being dropped with the help of water bombers, but all the hard work appears to be futile in the face of nature. In California, where there is already a water shortage, many fire hydrants were empty. Additionally, due to the fire spreading across different areas, firefighters and their equipment were divided. On top of that, when winds blowing at 70 to 100 km/h hit the fire, it flared up even more. Before understanding the main reason for the spread of the Los Angeles wildfires, let's look at how many times wildfires have struck California in the past. According to data from the last 25 years, California has been a hotspot for wildfires. In 2003, the Cedar Fire in San Diego County affected 273,000 acres. The fire, which started on October 25th, was extinguished on November 4th, 2003. Fire Oct. 25 ended Nov 4. Fire Oct. 25 ended Nov 4. Fire Oct. 25 ended Nov 4. In 2017, the Tabbs Fire burned 36,000 acres, and that too in October. Again in 2017, the Thomas Fire reduced 280,000 acres to ashes. This fire started in December and ended in January. On November 8, 2018, the Camp Fire burned 150,000 acres and ended after 17 days, on November 25th. Similarly, in 2020, the Glass Fire attacked 67,000 acres and also started in September and ended a full month later, in October. If we consider the dates of all these wildfires, one thing is very common among them. These wildfires started in the winter months. And the recent Los Angeles wildfire also started in the peak winters. So why is it that most wildfires in California's history have only started in the winters? The Santa Ana winds are hot, dry winds blowing through Southern and Baja California, mainly in autumn and winter. East of California lies the Mojave Desert, heated by the sun, raising air pressure. Meanwhile, cooler ocean air has lower pressure. Air moves from high to low pressure, and the greater the difference, the faster it travels. The Santa Ana winds rush from southeast California to the ocean, drying everything in their path. This makes the region dry and vegetation becomes parched, easily catching fire. The sun's heat warms the desert, causing the air pressure here to rise. On the other hand, when we talk about the ocean, the air is cooler and the pressure is lower. We learned in 6th grade that air travels from high pressure to low pressure. The greater the difference in pressure, the faster the air will travel, and that's exactly what happens here. The Santa Ana winds from southeast California move rapidly toward the ocean. These dry, warm winds suck up moisture wherever they pass. This makes the entire region dry during this season. shrubs and trees dry out completely, making them more susceptible to fire. The Santa Ana winds turn forests into wildfire fuel. If a fire starts, winds fan flames more, embers spread fast, and wildfire can quickly get out of control. Ideally, wildfire spreads with the wind, but in Los Angeles, the opposite happened. Fire started near dry seeds by the ocean, then spread inland. To understand this, we examine an interesting phenomenon. Now, ideally, the wildfire should spread in the same direction as the wind is blowing. However, in the case of Los Angeles, we saw the exact opposite. The fire was first spotted near dry seeds close to the ocean, and later it spread into inland areas. Why did this happen? To understand the real reason, we need to look into an interesting phenomenon. The windward side faces the wind, opposite is leeward. Blocking wind creates a vortex on leeward, swirling air. Above the mountain, wind flows one way, below it flows opposite. In Los Angeles, this affects fire spread. The Palisades, where the fire started, is leeward, and the mountain rotor reversed the wind, spreading the fire inland. It happens that when the windward side stops the wind, at the same time, a vortex effect is created on the leeward side, and the wind keeps rotating in this vortex, meaning that the wind direction on top of the mountain is in one direction, while the wind direction below the mountain is in the other direction. In Los Angeles, this phenomenon impacts the area. The Palisades, where the fire started, is the leeward side. The mountain view rotor caused air to flow oppositely, spreading the fire inland. As wildfires escalate, phenomena occur. Fire tornadoes intensify during severe wildfires. The wildfire's heat warms surrounding air, pulling it upward. Warm air rises and cooler air fills the space. When a wildfire grows large, it causes unusual phenomena, some hard to predict. One is the fire tornado, a rare, dangerous event during severe wildfires. It acts like a tornado, but with fire and heat. The wildfire's heat warms nearby air, pulling it up. This rising warm air and incoming cooler air create a rotating motion, drawing in dry brush and intensifying the fire tornado. It then controls the area's airflow, making its path hard to predict. But inside it is just fire and heat. The incredible heat generated by a wildfire instantly heats the surrounding air and pulls it upward. The heat causes the hot air to rise very quickly, and cooler air from below comes in to fill the space. This updraft creates a rotational motion that draws nearby dry brush into the fire tornado, making the vortex even more terrifying. Now this fire tornado dominates the wind in the area and starts creating its own wind within itself, the direction of which is also very difficult to predict, but it is likely to push the wildfire upward. Wildfires are real and will occur more often due to climate change. The US has advanced technology to control wildfires. Infrared cameras gather real-time data on wildfire temperature and spread. Satellites monitor fire size and location. AI predicts fire spread direction, relaying info to firefighters. Firefighters spray chemicals to prevent fire spread. With the help of satellites, the size and location of the fire are monitored. Nowadays, artificial intelligence is even used to predict the direction of the fire's spread. And all this information is relayed to the firefighters. Firefighters try to spray chemicals around the area where the fire has broken out to prevent it from spreading further. However, in Los Angeles, firefighters first focus on one area of the fire